Hello, my Flat Earth family. So, I am going to be analyzing this video that D Marble put out. And I ask that you, especially D, not take this personally. But I want us to be teaching things that are true and well thought out. And I think that this is not one of those things. Okay, let me put this down a little bit. There you go, much better. Okay. So I'm going to play some of this and then I'm going to stop it at a good point. So this is D Marble and the name of it is What Force is Gravity Fighting?
It's a natural force that keeps us all from flying off into space. We were always...
Alright, so I want to talk a little bit about that phrase. That phrase that we get so often. You know, if it weren't for gravity, we'd all go flying off into space. As ridiculous as that sounds, there are still adults, supposedly rational thinking adults, that still say that exact same thing. So, the situation is that we've all been subjected to an extensive propaganda campaign that has resulted in people operating with total disregard for their own God-given senses. And this has led people to believe in ideologies that go completely against common sense and rational thought. When individuals express their knowledge that they live on a flat, stationary plane, one of the most popular responses we get is in the form of gravity. And gravity is used to explain away everything that makes absolutely no sense in relation to your day-to-day experience.
Yes, that is very true, what he's saying there, that the heliocentric believers, the globe model believers, will say that gravity is the answer to everything that they can't answer. So, yeah, that is true what he's saying there.
It's the glue that holds this whole thing together. So we were all programmed to believe in gravity, and we're told to respond by explaining gravity and saying that gravity is this amazing force on Earth that pulls everything towards the center of mass from all directions. This infers that when people say that believe in a globe, that there exist people thousands of miles beneath your feet who are walking, driving, riding bikes, flying airplanes, finding love and loss, experiencing tragedy and hope, all while living their entire existence upside down relative to their position.
Now, this is where I really take exception to what he's saying, because he put in the word relative. So when you are talking about the globe model, the heliocentric model, relative is very relative. So when you are in Australia, then on the globe, because of gravity, you still are standing what you think is upright, and there are no upside down places on the globe because gravity eliminates that sense of it. So the only way that what he's saying can be correct is if there were no gravity, which we are going to get into a little bit here, and there was no globe model that depended on this theory of gravity. So there's two theories at work here, the theory of the globe and the theory of gravity. And the only way you would see anyone standing one way and then the other one would be upside down is if you were at a distance taking a picture of it, like from outer space, the theory of outer space. So let's hear some more. But the word relative is very relative, and this is what I'm objecting to here. And there's also something else that I think he's going to quickly get to.
And when people say that, I don't believe that they're really thinking that deeply about what they're saying. And what you're seeing here is a visual demonstration of just that. I know it looks silly, but we globe skeptics or flat earthers, we're not the ones that believe that this nonsense actually matches up with reality.
So first off, let me tell you, I do not like these types of pictures. I think they are a mockery, and we should not be mocking anyone. You know what we were before we were flat earthers? We were globe believers. We were there. So we even believed that there were people down under, and therefore they would be in this relative position. So I just do not like this. I never have. There's another guy that I work with in the flat earth community, and he really likes this, but I think it's more appealing to someone wanting to mock the globies back. Let's mock them back. Now, my friend says, well, it makes somebody think. Okay, all right, so it does. But I just avoid this kind of thing because I have a teaching attitude. My attitude is that there but for the grace of God go I. I could be still believing this if somebody did not teach me the error of my ways. So I try to avoid these things. I'm not going to criticize Daryl for using this, but I think he's misunderstanding this. This is why I'm bringing this up. I avoided doing an analyzing of his video here because I just wanted to avoid this. But I think at this point, I need to address this. So let's continue.
Just because that's what we're told. But if you believe that gravity's strong enough to be pulling everything towards the center of mass, and let's go ahead and take a look at this example and break it down a little bit.
Now, one other thing is when we were all learning the spinning ball model, the globe model, was anyone ever shown a picture of people upside down like this? As children, were we ever shown anything like this? No, I never was. So we were never believing this. We were believing that everything was relative to your position on the earth, and everyone stood upright because gravity. So, next thing.
A person can be standing next to a 4,000-pound vehicle and step outside said vehicle and stand next to a helium balloon while that balloon is attempting to float upward to the sky that is relatively beneath someone else's feet. Because people believe that's a thing. You can dig through the earth and then come out the other side, and there's going to be sky up there.
Yeah, that's what he said right there was true. That is part of the globe model, that we could dig through to China. Now, that is something that has been mocked and put in cartoons and you know, said to be part of the globe model. And I think it's horrible that, you know, the kids are like mocked as children. They're even being mocked on the cartoons, and it's just awful. But go ahead, continue.
Get out on the other side. People believe that gravity is strong enough to hold this 4,000-pound van to the ground because that's what you're seeing right here. The gravitational pull is supposedly holding the van on the concrete, keeping it from flying off into space. Right? Somebody can step out of that same vehicle with absolutely no detection of this tremendous force that's holding the van to the ground, and as ridiculous as this sounds and looks, that's exactly what most of the Earth's population has been trained to believe. And then you're going to have these so-called experts on the internet who would shrug that off and offer up word salad, pseudoscientific jargon, word trickery to confuse people using terms like selective gravity to to explain away these things that have no relation to reality. Now let's address this logical fallacy of gravity is what's keeping us all from flying off into space, and add a little question in there. Now those of us who actually trust in our senses to interpret reality and have grown a skepticism for the globe model, and we find it easier to conclude that gravity is a non-existent force, and that we all, meaning everyone existing on Earth, all of us, we experience life on a flat, motionless plane. We all walk around upright at a 90-degree angle on this vast, flat plane, just like we all experience every day of our lives. Our day-to-day experience is us living on a flat.
Yes. And that is what we understand now, that it is a flat plane, and that's why we all, are standing upright. But we are like parallel with each other now, whereas before we didn't know we were parallel with each other. So that's the difference.
Motionless plane. None of us have ever seen anybody upside down. That makes absolutely no sense. Anyway, but if gravity is the force that's keeping us all from flying off into space, then this would mean that there's some force, some repellent force that's either pushing everything away from the surface of the Earth, or that there's some force that's external to the Earth that's pulling everything away from the surface of the Earth.
Okay, so this is where I think we're getting into a little trouble. There is a force, and I don't think he touches on that. He talks about space pulling us away, but I will get to this, but I don't think he's hitting on what's really important here. So let's keep listening.
Earth in all directions, relatively. This would mean that there's some force that gravity's constantly in this eternal struggle with. Well, as far as we know, there's no repulsive force pushing everything away from the Earth. In fact, we've been taught that the Earth has a magnetic core.
Well, see, this is what he's missing. There is some force in the globe model, in the heliocentric model. There definitely is a force. Let's see if he hits it.
Although it's been demonstrated that magnetic properties are lost when a metal reaches a certain temperature, but I suppose that's for another video.
And this is all very true. So it's a very nice little...
As far as the external force pulling things off the Earth, that gravity's supposed to be constantly fighting against, well, some people would say that's the vacuum of space, and attribute all that to this infinite vacuum of space. But it's been demonstrated, and it's been discussed at length by other content creators, that the idea of an enclosed system existing next to a vacuum without a physical membrane or a barrier between the two, that's a physical impossibility. So to summarize, if you believe that gravity is the force that keeps us all from flying off into space, then that means that there has to be some force that gravity is perpetually counteracting, that's either pushing us away from the surface of the Earth, or that's pulling us out into space.
7:06, he's got about 24 minutes, so let me see. Or seconds.
Off of the face of the Earth.
Sorry, 24 seconds.
So the question is, what is that force that gravity is constantly battling against? What's the name of that force? I just want you to think about these things. And that's all I got for this video. As always, be good to each other.
So, he didn't get it. He did not get it. There is absolutely a force in the globe model. In the heliocentric model. There absolutely is. And that's the spin of the Earth. So why would he totally ignore that? Why would he not know that? If you want to go out and teach flat Earth, then you have to know the globe model. You have to know the heliocentric model. How could he have missed this? I don't know. Let's see what my comment was here on this And I wrote it up. Let me get it up into big here. All right. Oh, I'm still going to have to adjust my camera. And it was so nicely situated. Okay. I'm sorry for this. I'm low tech. Okay. So here's my comment, and I put it on the video, so I hope he reads it. And it is, I don't agree with the way you did this video. You used the word relative, which I already talked about in the video. Using the word relative makes the theory of gravity plausible. This is what the controllers use to explain gravity, and on a globe, this would work, relatively speaking. A spinning globe would have a force repelling us from the center and could cause something to be flung into space in the heliocentric model. That force is called centrifugal force, an apparent force that acts outward on a body moving around a center. And I'll just interject here that we've all been on the playground, and there's one of those little spinning things, and you sit on it. The boys would say, "Oh, girls, get on this thing and we'll spin you around." Okay, so all the bad boys make it go so fast that the girls start flying off. You know how it is. So maybe they took them off the playgrounds. I don't know. But let me finish this, my comment. So centrifugal force is caused by the supposed spin of the Earth in its made-up rotation. The heliocentric model makes sense. That is how they got away with this for so long. However, the heliocentric model is not based in reality, and it is only held up by more theory. So the theory of heliocentric plus the theory of the globe has to be held up by the theory of gravity. That's what I'm saying here. The flat Earth is held up by fact. We cannot tear down theory supported by other theory. We can teach fact. Now, this is where I get into something that's very important. And most of my flat Earth friends, you just totally ignore this. Don't ignore it. Start studying it. Look into it and offer a possible alternative. So here I start here. In order to teach the flat Earth, you must know the heliocentric model with all their arguments. This video will be mocked by globalists and helio believers. There is no fact presented here that will disprove gravity. May I suggest that you look at diamagnetism as a possible alternative theory? Yes, it's a theory of mine. Diamagnetism is not a theory, though, because diamagnetism is a reality. But is it in our realm? Can we apply it to the flat Earth theory? Can we apply it to our flat Earth reality? I find it to be a plausible alternative. At least offering an alternative that achieves the same result will get you an equal basis for comparison from which to start testing. And that's why I offer it. That's why I say it. Because, let me read this last one again here. At least offering an alternative that achieves the same result will get you an equal basis for comparison from which to start testing. It is very important that you have the scientific method, and you look at things from an unbiased position, and that you have something to test. So what could it be? You look at the evidence. All right, things fall. And the only thing that we have so far is gravity. No other alternatives are being offered. Nothing else we can test. So that's why we accept gravity. That's why gravity is so popular, because nothing else has been offered. So let's start offering an alternative that achieves the same result, will get you an equal basis for comparison from which you start testing. That's what I'm trying to tell you. And density and buoyancy are not cutting it. They are only properties within the force. Diamagnetism is a force. So let's start talking about a possible alternative force. Thank you. That's all I wanted to do here. It's nothing personal. This is totally just professional. And I wanted to give the Flat Earth teachers something to chew on. All right. Thank you so much. Have a great day.